Hello viewers, this is Harsh Chandani here to demonstrate you the working of our project Code Docs, which my team Kuch Bhi Rakh Lo developed in the event Soft Tablets during Avishkar 2021 at MNIT Allahabad. In a nutshell, our project Code Docs is a collaborative coding platform developed using JavaFX for front-end, Java for back-end, and MySQL as a database. Here you can see that the main Code Docs project actually has two modules, Java Code Docs Client and Code Docs Server. First I'll launch the server. Okay, so the server has started on port 3000. Now I'll launch the client. As a client, when you first start the application, if you haven't logged in before, you will land on this login screen. If you don't have an account, you can click on this sign up button and create an account. I'll quickly create an account. Sign up. So the sign up request has been sent to the server. The server will first generate a verification token, send that token to our email address, and we'll be asked to verify our email. So here on Mailtrap, I have received this verification token on Harsh3010. I start my application again. To this verification token, it says account is verified, you can log in now. Alright, so I'll log in. Okay, so when we log in, it brings me to this main screen where it says welcome Harsh along with my email address, then a create code doc button and a logout button, previous next button and a refresh button in the middle. And here we have different navigation tabs, my library for displaying all the code docs which I have created or I have access to, personal code docs having a list of code docs which were created by me, invitations if any user has sent me invitations for inviting me to edit their code doc or just having access to view their code doc, and the notes which I have created. Now my library, personal code docs and invitations are fetched from server. However, the notes are actually stored in local storage. So if you have notes created by other users on the same machine, then you can view those notes here as well. Now let me just create a code doc. Say I'll enter the title my first code doc, and this now here I can choose the programming language. For now I'll go with CPP. I click on OK. It says code doc created successfully. Now if I click on refresh, then here in the my library tab I can see my first code doc. Now here I have two buttons, manage and delete. Let me quickly click on delete. It says are you sure code doc was deleted. If I refresh again, then the code doc is gone. Now let me create another code doc, say my second code doc. This is the description. I'll choose the language as Java. Code doc created successfully. If I click on refresh, I can see that over here. Let me show you this personal code docs as well. If I click on refresh, I can see this code doc over here. Now what's with this manage button? If I click on manage button, it brings me to an entirely new screen where I can see the name of my code doc, and I see an update button where I can enter new title and new description for my code doc, an invite button, a back button, and the list of collaborators. Right now I see my name because I am the only one who has access to this code doc. However, I can create an invitation. I can invite other users. Say I already have an account with email harsh@gmail.com. Here I enter the email. Now here I see two options. Either I can give write permissions to harsh@gmail.com, or I can simply ask him to gain access in read-only mode. So for now I'll give write permissions. I invite him, invitation sent successfully. I'll be showing you this invitation later on. I click on back. Now here the previous and next buttons are actually used for implementing pagination. Right now, since there's only one code doc, so I cannot demonstrate you how pagination works, but at a time we are loading only 10 code docs on the screen. If the user clicks on next, then he can load the next 10 code docs and so on. Now if we double click on this my second code doc, then it opens a new screen editor. This screen is separate, so we can actually open multiple editors at a time. Now in the editor, here is the file button, save, download, appearance, search, exit for this code doc. In the preferences tab, we can change the font size. So right now I haven't typed. So this code doc was actually in language Java. So I can show you how the editor works basically for Java. You can see that as I started typing, this small menu appeared on the top, which is actually displaying me class. When I have typed class, this is actually the autocomplete feature and the recommendation feature which we have implemented. If I click on enter, then it will automatically type class, and the class which was initially in white is now red and bold. This is the highlighting feature, syntax highlighting feature. Both of these features, the autocomplete feature and the syntax highlighting feature, have been implemented from scratch using our knowledge of DSA. We basically used a try for storing these tokens like class and other tokens like public, private and protected in a try, and along with these tokens we are also storing the style class which we have specified in the CSS. For example, right now I have typed class appeared in red color. If I type something else, say I type a brace, and the brace appears in blue color. So along with the style class, we have stored these tokens in a try, and similar is the logic for autocomplete feature. We have stored these tokens in a try, and the try basically suggests recursively all the like I type P, it considers P as the prefix, and these suggestions it loads recursively using all the information which we have initially stored in the try. Now the highlighting and autocomplete feature are implemented in two languages, for Java and C right now. So therefore I chose the programming languages Java. So right now I'll simply write a small Java program. Say class solution. For Java and Python we have to use the class names as solution. Now if I type this program, say public static void, so you can see the syntax highlighting in action. Now let me just compile this program. When I clicked on the compile button, it displayed a warning, you have unsaved changes, please save the code doc first. Basically the code docs are stored on server, and they are loaded on client side separately, but whenever the client wants to perform actions like run and compile, so before that he needs to synchronize the content of the code doc with the server. So over here I have the save button. I clicked on the save button, it says saved successfully. Then I click on the compile button, it says your code compiled successfully. Now on clicking the run button, it will display the output, that is hello world. So this was the working of editor. To show other features, I can show you the notes feature over here. If I click on this notes feature, then it will ask me the title for notes. So I'll say Java note, and this is a small hello world program in Java. Okay, so it has taken the note. Notes are actually stored in local storage, and we have provided a separate UI for viewing notes as well. The other features I'll be demonstrating in a bit when I open multiple client instances. So over here I can see the notes. Let me log out and log in again. The refresh functionality has not been implemented for notes. So here you can see Java node created on 2021-10-01, and over here you can see the screenshot of the editor when the note was taken, and this is a small hello world program in Java. Now I'll log in with some already created accounts to show you how the collaborative coding works in our case. So I've signed in with harsh@gmail.com. Over here I have CodeDoc1 in C++. I open this in one editor. Now I start another instance of client. And it opens a new screen. Okay, it has logged me in as Harsh, but I don't want that to happen. So I have harsh1@gmail.com. Harsh1 also has access to code document. Now the noise you are hearing is not a bug, it's actually a feature, that is the audio feature, while the users are editing the same code. So I'll just mute from both of them. Okay, I'm muted. Now this is the editor corresponding to Harsh. Since Harsh opened the code doc first, Harsh has the control of code doc, and this is the code doc corresponding to the Harsh1, the second one. I'll start another instance as well, a third client. This is basically to demonstrate different users, and few of them having write permission and few of them who have access to the code doc but only in the read only mode. Okay, so Simran also opens this code doc one. Let me just mute it. Okay, so this is Simran's screen, this is Harsh1's screen, and the third screen is basically for Harsh. This is Harsh's screen. Now I can actually, as I'll go on typing, they will be able to see my cursor along with the label which shows my name, that is Harsh is pointing at this point. Similarly, other users can also point cursors at their respective places. So if I were to show you over here, you can see that Simran is pointing over here, Harsh1 is pointing over here, and I, who is Harsh, is pointing over here. Now if I make any changes to the code doc, those changes will actually be reflected in everyone's screen. So this is the code doc content change wala part, and the cursor streaming also, that the position of cursor is being streamed to everyone as I change it. Another important thing is the selection part. Like if I have to highlight some part of code, I can simply select that and others will be able to see what I have selected on their screens as well. So now another feature is basically this chat feature. I can open this chat box in everyone's screen. Now this is Harsh's screen, the harsh@gmail.com wala Harsh. I type a message, hello. If I click on send, the message was actually sent to everyone. It says over here Harsh to everyone. Now over here I see the list of other users as well who are connected for editing the same code doc, Simran Kaur and Harsh1 Yanchandani. If I want to send a message to someone in private, like the other users cannot see, only that specific user can see the message, so I can type that message as well, hello Simran. Now for the other users, this was Simran, Harsh to everyone, hello, Harsh to you, hello Simran. For this third user, which was harsh1@gmail.com, it only shows Harsh to everyone, it doesn't show Harsh to Simran, and I can reply as well, hey, and everyone would be able to see this hey message, as you can see. Now another important thing is that right now Harsh1 was harsh@gmail.com was in control of the code doc. What if some other guy wants to edit this code doc? Say this is harsh1@gmail.com, I'm typing the keys, he's not able to edit, he's not able to make changes to the code doc. What if he wanted to make changes? So first of all, he will be able to make changes only if he has write permissions. Simran over here doesn't have write permissions, so she can never make changes. However, harsh1@gmail.com can still make changes only if he requests control from harsh@gmail.com. For that, he can go to this active users tab. Here he can see two users, Harsh Yanchandani and Simran Kaur. Harsh Yanchandani is showed in green because Harsh Yanchandani has write permissions. Simran is shown in white because she doesn't have write permission. If I click on here, I can simply mute Simran and do nothing else other than that. And for Harsh Yanchandani, I can mute him and request for control. If I click on request control, then you can see in this tab, Harsh actually received an alert saying Harsh1 Yanchandani is requesting control. If I wanted to give control, I can simply click on OK. And this Harsh1 actually received a dialog box saying that you are in control of the editor. How to prove it? Basically, the first method is obviously that trying to edit. Now this is the screen of Harsh1 Yanchandani, as other users over here as Harsh Yanchandani and Simran Kaur. Now Harsh no longer has control and Simran never had control. So now I can make changes and these changes will be reflected to everyone's screen. As you can see, Harsh1 is typing over here int, and over here as well, like it shows the name Harsh1 is typing over here, and same goes at this place. So this was the working of entire editor. Other features were like the font size and all. Like if I were to increase the font size of my editor, I can increase it. However, this font size won't be streamed because it is something different from the editor. It is something which concerns to only a single user rather than everyone else. And now I can exit this. I can exit this as well, and this as well. So that's it. This was the working of our project Code Docs, and thank you.